Warning: the following video contains explicit language, which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready?
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. And hope you're having a good day. It's been a very nice day here in Maine. The temperature hasn't been as hot. It's like in the upper 70s with the humidity down. So it was nice. A lot of people outside today, walking around. And so it's nice. To see everybody out. I mean, it was so damn hot before. I mean, with the humidity and everything, you just can't really enjoy going outside when it's like that, unless you live near the coast where it's cooler. So President Biden tested positive for COVID, and he said he's going to self-isolate but continue to do his work. And of course, because he got COVID, everybody's bringing up doubling down on the Biden should leave or resign bullshit again. Senator Chuck Schumer had told the president that he ought to drop out of the fucking race. I'm really sick of that. And then, of course, some goddamn poll comes out. By the mainstream media AP North poll, it says 65% of Democrats want Biden to withdraw. Really? 65%? That's a pretty fucking high number. Okay? Because I haven't seen, a whole lot of people agreeing that Biden ought to drop out of the fucking race. Okay? If there's 65%, it must be people a lot of people that I haven't seen, or maybe they've been lying to me. But I don't think people... here's the thing. If you ask that question, do you think he ought to drop out because he's old or whatever, you're going to get an answer. But if you ask him, who do you think ought to be president? Should it be Trump or Biden? I don't think the answer is going to be so easy, because if they aren't going to vote for Biden, they're sure as hell, if they don't want Biden to run, that doesn't mean they're going to vote for Trump, right? Okay, it just means they want somebody else to replace Biden. But here's the thing, they don't need to worry about somebody else replacing Biden, because if Biden wins the White House, okay, and then he's in there and he decides after, a year or two that, I'm just not healthy enough to keep this second term, he can always hand it over to Harris, okay? And she can do the job. He says he thinks that she's more than capable to be president. All right, but I think, and this is just my opinion, okay, based on my years of living on this in this country, on this earth, okay, I think there is a fear in the Democrat Party by, like it or not, there are some bigots in the party who would rather not see a Harris presidency, okay, and I don't think they're willing to just push Biden in there and hope he'll last the 4 years, because I don't think these people think that he will, but they sure as hell don't want to see her taking his place. So I feel like they're making some kind of move to try to prevent that from happening, to prevent Harris from happening. Now, going back to 2016 and Bernie Sanders, okay, and how I think at that time, people in the Democrat Party didn't want to see a Jewish man become president of this country. Okay, there's a lot of hatred still in this, and you may not hear it all the time, but there's a lot out there against Jewish people in America. I mean, we're not much better than Germany was back in 1938. Okay, we have just as much hatred for them, but all these other people too. And the thing is that I think that because of what happened in 2016, that cost the Democrats the win. Okay, and we ended up with Trump. We're going to do this thing again, where they're afraid that we might end up with a Kamala Harris presidency, and they don't want that. All right, they don't want that because she's a woman and she's black. You got two things against her right off the bat, just because, But these people they don't have any alternatives. Okay, some of the names that I've heard them bandying around there, and all that, it's too late for them. They're unknowns, a lot of these people. And so there's no way in hell that, somebody that most of the Democrat Party doesn't even know can win the White House in 4 months. Just they're taking for granted that people are just going to show up and vote blue all the way down the ticket. No, that's really not what Democrats do. If they don't get their way, they stay home and they don't vote. That's what they do. Okay? We don't have that unity that the Republican Party has. There's too much infighting in the Democrat Party for the most part, and you could see it. It's on display right now. I mean, we can't even rally behind our own president. We're spending way too much time and energy and money attacking our own candidate, and that really, the right wing is doing enough of that. We don't need to be doing that in our own party here, okay? And so I feel like, the press is still beating down the fucking walls here to say he needs to get out, he needs to get out. Well, what are they going to do after the Democrat convention and the electorate decides that Biden is the one? Okay, who else is the electoral votes going to go to other than Biden? Because there's nobody else running against him in the Democrat Party. So who the hell else is there? People are going to show up to the convention, and if Biden isn't the one chosen, I don't think it's going to be, a banner time there to be a Democrat. These people are gonna fucking go crazy if Biden isn't the one chosen. They're gonna fucking have a fit. So if they want to pull this stunt, just like what happened in 2016, at the goddamn convention, okay? If they want to pull this stunt all over again and get Trump back into the White House, that's it. We're screwed. Democracy will just, like a fart in the wind. You'll never hear anything more ever again about that in this country because, they had the Trump campaign hasn't been making anything secretive about what they want to do. They have been boldly coming out and saying exactly what they're going to do. Okay, and even though there's people out there clapping and applauding this thing, the rest of us are at home trembling, thinking, what can we do to get out of this, to avoid that bullet? The answer is right there. It always has been. Joe Biden. He's the answer. You stay behind Joe Biden, okay? Get him in there, okay? And you don't have to worry about Project 2025, at least not while he's president. All right? You won't have to worry about that. And like I said, should he decide that, he can't finish the second term, then Kamala Harris will step in. And she's going to do the same work that he's been doing. Okay? And I don't see why that's such a downside. Okay? Because I think Kamala and Biden have been pretty much on the same page the last 4 years. All right? I really think that. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they don't agree on everything, all right? No two people could agree on anything anyway, but the thing of it is that they both promised to continue what they've been doing, all right? And so far, they've been keeping their word. The only problems have been coming from the right. They're always trying to get in the way, to stop things from happening. Okay, so that's where the problems come from. But it's not been from the administration. Okay, they're not the ones making all the trouble. It's the fucking MAGA nuts out there doing that, and they vow they're going to continue doing that as it goes on. Let me see here. This article here from the AP. It's entitled, "What Would Make Joe Biden Drop Out of the Presidential Race? Here are the 4 reasons that he cited." Okay, President Biden has made it clear basically any which way you ask him, he's definitely, assuredly, quote, 1000%, quote, staying in the presidential race. But in response to questions from journalists over the last few weeks, the embattled Democrat president has given some clues as to what could make him step aside, especially as the calls from his own party to end his candidacy continue unabated. Here are the things Biden has cited. Number 1, divine intervention. It was a defiant answer that indicated Biden had no intention whatsoever of dropping out during an ABC News interview that marked the first major test of his fitness for office. Anchor George Stephanopoulos asked the 81-year-old Biden whether he had convinced himself that only he could defeat his Republican opponent, Donald Trump. Quote, "I have convinced myself of 2 things," unquote, Biden said. Quote, "I'm the most qualified person to beat him, and I know how to get things done," unquote. Stephanopoulos pressed a little further. Quote, "If you can be convinced that you cannot defeat Donald Trump, will you stand down?" Unquote. Quote, "It depends," unquote, Biden responded. Quote, "I mean, if the Lord Almighty comes out and tells me that I might do that," unquote. The other reason, second reason, cold hard data. No politician ever wants to lose, and it seems Biden would be willing to exit if he had numerical proof that that's what would happen. In a news conference at the close of the NATO summit in Washington last week, Biden was asked whether he would step aside if aides showed him that Vice President Harris would be a stronger opponent than he would be against Trump. Biden's initial response was, quote unquote, "No." But then he elaborated, quote, "Unless they came back and said, 'There's no way you can win me,' unquote," he said, quote, "No one is saying that. No poll says that," unquote. The limited polling available suggests a competitive race with several months before the election. Several polls of voters give Trump a slight advantage, while others show neither candidate with an advantage. It should be noted that some of them polls have been saying giving Trump the advantage. It's still in the margin of error, okay? So it's still, it's not certain. But that's just polling data. And like I said, I don't really hinge on what polls say, okay? Christ. I'm sick of hearing about fucking polls. I got one between my legs. That's the only poll I care about. Okay, the third reason, a fateful accident. Biden wasn't directly asked the hypothetical, but he threw in a new scenario anyway. As Speedy Mormon, a host on the entertainment network Complex, was wrapping up his interview with Biden last week in Detroit, he had one more closing question for the president. Quote, "We will 1000%, in your words, see you on the ballot this November?" Unquote. Biden quipped, quote, "Unless I get hit by a train, yeah," unquote. Mormon responded, quote, "Let's hope that doesn't happen for your safety's concern," unquote. And the fourth reason, a diagnosed medical ailment. Biden spoke with BET journalist Ed Gordon for an interview set to air Wednesday night. During the conversation, Gordon asked Biden if there were any factors that would make him reevaluate his candidacy. He didn't repeat the other reasons that he had previously listed, but rather surfaced a new one. Quote, "If I had some medical condition that emerged," unquote, Biden told Gordon. Quote, "If doctors came to me and said, 'You got this problem, that problem,' unquote." The health of Biden, the oldest person to be U.S. president, has been scrutinized well before his catastrophic debate performance. After his latest physical in February, Dr. Kevin O'Connor said Biden remains fit to successfully execute the duties of the presidency. A neurological exam taken more than a month prior shows no signs of a stroke, multiple sclerosis, or Parkinson's disease, according to O'Connor. The physician also said a cognitive exam was unnecessary. Biden tested positive for COVID-19 Wednesday while trying to shore up support among disenchanted voters key to his re-election. The diagnosis prompted him to cancel a meeting with the members of a Latino civil rights organization in the battleground state of Nevada. So, like I said, the press, instead of, coming at him and asking him about policy, Lester Holt, they come after him and they're asking him about when will you get out of the race? I mean, they're basically antagonizing him, and Biden's getting pissed about that. You could tell. I mean, when him and Lester Holt there had that interview here this week, he was getting pissed because Lester just kept at it, suggesting that Biden needs to get out of the race and all the shit, and Biden was getting kind of mad. And I don't blame him, because look, he goes there, he's campaigning for the office. The questions he wants to have asked are things that he wants to do. But the press isn't interested in that. Okay? They're not interested in his great first term. All right? They're not interested, in what he wants to do with a second term. They only care about the here and now, right now. And it almost comes off like they want Trump to win. And the thing of it is that almost every CEO from all the major news networks is in Trump's pocket. Okay? That's already been confirmed. It's all MAGA, the news outfit. And that's why they've been covering him like there's no tomorrow. And somebody had pointed out, and I don't know who the hell it was, but somebody had pointed out that after Trump got hit, okay, at the rally, there were a bullet, whatever the hell hit him, there was absolutely no updates on his condition at the hospital or anything like that. Like after when Reagan was shot, I mean, they kept people, the media was hounding the hospital for any little tidbit of information just to give to the public. They didn't do that with Trump, okay? And then he shows up with this great big fucking diaper on his ear. And some people kind of laughed and said he's playing that for sympathy because it's ridiculously, big old water, whatever. Some people having doubts that he was even seriously injured, and that's why the doctors weren't saying anything, okay, or talking to the press, is because, they just didn't want the public to know that, what happened was just, just a nick, and it was just more, he probably got hurt more shaving than doing anything like that, But they wouldn't say anything. They wouldn't give any updates on Trump in the hospital or for that cut or how bad it was that he got hit. No, not a fucking word, which a lot of people thought was kind of weird. But that goes to show you the level of influence that the right wing has over the press. I mean, the press not out there asking that, and they were still attacking Biden while this was happened, in Pennsylvania. Okay, so instead of the press shifting focus onto a more important issue, no, they're still after Biden. They didn't ask anything about Trump's condition at the hospital or whether or not, the wound was severe. Okay, no questions asked about that at all, And so it's just very, very weird. I mean, it's just like what happened with the New York Times, publishing that goddamn letter that George Clooney had wrote saying that Biden needs, it was George Clooney, really. I mean, I know Nancy Pelosi had said something about this before Clooney did, but Pelosi kind of spoke in a vacuum. And then George Clooney comes out and writes a letter, and it gets all the fucking media coverage right then, because he's a celebrity. He's more popular than Nancy Pelosi, so naturally the press are going to flock to him. And he's really the one that got this thing going here about Trump. About Biden, I'm sorry. This momentum about Biden needing to leave office. He started this. Okay, after he said that, every fucking press agency, they all been after him. Okay, then all of a sudden, you know, Rob Reiner comes out, and then Stephen King comes out, you know, and these other big donors, you know, that donate for the Democrat Party. All these other people started to come out of the woodwork and say that and echo what Clooney was saying. Okay, they didn't do that until Clooney said that. Pelosi had said it, but nobody really listened. But when Clooney came out and made that letter and it got published in the New York Times, that's when it came out. That's when it fucking exploded there. It went viral after that. So, if Biden doesn't become president, for whatever reason, I think we can point the finger at George Clooney on this. He fucked it up for us. Okay? And it's easy when you're a multi-millionaire to be able to sit in the corner of the room and just shout, you know, what to do. I mean, what does he care if the United States ends up in the hands of a Hitler wannabe? You know, he'll just go live in one of his homes out in Italy or France, or wherever the fuck he's got homes there. He could sit there and ride it out while the United States burns. Okay, the rest of us, we ain't got that luxury. We don't have the luxury to be wishy-washy about who we vote for and who we don't vote for. We have to be on target here, the rest of us, because our lives are at stake. Our futures are at stake. And the things that this Project 2025 has spelled out, and from the Heritage Foundation about what they want Trump to do, so Trump gets his support. You know, it's not going to be a very banner time in the United States, and none of us, most of us anyway, are not going to be able to flee anywhere because we're not rich. You know, we don't have a house somewhere else. We can't escape what's going to happen. So, you know, forgive me, you know, for not taking what George Clooney says as, you know, absolute gospel here, okay? He's a guy on the outside, you know? He's on the outside of this thing looking in. Yeah, he gives big money to the Democrats, okay? You know, anybody can contribute money to anything. Doesn't give them the right to turn around and stab it in the back after. I mean, come on. You know, if you're gonna give $25 million fucking dollars to the Biden campaign, then you better damn well stand in that fucking guy's corner all the way to the end. You don't get to come out and say something against them after you just took people's money at a fucking party. You know, Jesus. All right, let's go to commercial break.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me!
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
What is a failed coup? Is it a loss? A defeat? A victory for the good guys? What happens to those who perpetrated the coup? Are there consequences? Or do they remain in power? And if they do, when are we safe? What will stop them next time?
Donald Trump's campaign is obsessed with the past. He's willing to sacrifice our democracy, put himself in power. Not America, not you.
A failed coup with no consequences is just a training exercise for the next attack.
I am your voice. I am your warrior. I am your justice.
I am your retribution.
And make no mistake, they're going to try again. Unless you stop them.
Welcome to the Trump 2024 convention, brought to you by Project 2025. This week in the horrible city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, you'll see the best of the Trump Project 2025 party. It's a bold vision for a bright future. With Trump Project 2025, you'll love how new tariffs will make everything more expensive and set off runaway inflation. We know you'll appreciate paying for the big tax cut our struggling billionaires need. When you seniors are done freeloading, check out Project 2025's plan to end Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. So get out of that nursing home bed and get back to work. And ladies, this convention has so much in store for you. With Project 2025, you'll learn how good you'll have it in the kitchen. Girls, if your marriage isn't working out, you'll need Project 2025's helpful tips to keep the romance alive, even if he's abusive, because we're getting rid of divorce. And if Mr. Wrong gets you pregnant, welcome to motherhood, because we've ended Roe v. Wade and we're going to criminalize birth control. And minorities, well, you didn't need those silly voting rights anyway. For you Jews, Muslims, Mormons, and other fake religions, you'll get a head start on learning America is a Christian nation. Project 2025 is Donald Trump's plan for your future, and it couldn't be any brighter.
Project 2025 Bright Future Guarantee applies to white evangelical Christian men only. Other conditions may apply. Offer not valid in a functioning republic.
For President Donald J. Trump
And J.D. Vance!
Terrible candidate. Idiot if you voted for him. Might be America's Hitler. Might be a cynical a-hole. Cultural heroine. Noxious and reprehensible.
But I can't stomach Trump. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place. He's leading our political discourse to a very negative place. If Trump is elected president, he has to be a much different president than he was a candidate. As a candidate, he was fundamentally divisive, arrogant. I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
Our border is a mess.
A lot of the senators are trying to say respectfully they're blaming it on me. I said, that's okay. Please blame it on me. Please.
Donald Trump is telling his allies not to vote for it so he can run on it in November. That, to me, is dereliction of duty. Biden is ready to sign something if Congress will send it to him.
He never talks about securing the border unless he's saying stop it because I don't want it to happen until the election.
But as an election year issue, keeping the chaos at the border as it is benefits him.
Told me flat out, if you try to move a bill that solves the border crisis during this presidential year, I will do whatever I can to destroy you.
I'm extremely disappointed in the very strange maneuvering by many on the right.
It's honestly partisan politics on display in the stupidest way. It's embarrassing for Republicans.
The fact that he would communicate to Republican senators and congresspeople that he doesn't want us to solve the border problem because he wants to blame Biden for it is really appalling.
He'd rather weaponize this issue than actually solve it.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, the nightmare event that is the Republican National Convention here that's going on in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which Republicans have always hated that city. I don't, and why they would have, I don't know. Anyway, they bring out this J.D. Vance guy as Trump's running mate. Sounds like the name of a used car salesman, it's J.D. Vance. And this guy here, Christ almighty, talk about a man that was bought and paid for. Because originally, he claimed he never liked Trump. Called him America's Hitler. He was saying all kinds of nasty shit about Trump. But now, for the right amount of money, he's on Trump's side. And that's why Trump likes him. Because it's always about keep your enemies very close. And that's what he's doing. But I'll tell you, he ain't going to have any better time with being vice president with Trump than Mike Pence did, because if he doesn't like Trump now, he's going to hate him worse after being vice president under him after a time. But he was given a speech at the convention about his life, which a lot of people said he left a lot out. Okay, he's trying to pass himself off as the everyman in America. Okay, when he's been born with a silver spoon in his mouth and everything, and he's anything but a hillbilly. Okay, but he's given a very tailored view of his life to people who are sitting there soaking that shit up. But I don't, a lot of people noticed there weren't too many people applauding things that he was saying. It was pretty quiet. Because, a lot of these people didn't like J.D. Vance, especially with the shit he was saying about Trump. So they're being forced to kind of swallow his crap, but I don't think they really like Vance. But since he ain't the top of the ticket for them, they don't really, it doesn't bother them at all. They just don't trust him. What's this thing here about J.D. Vance's former roommate? And his roommate says Trump VP pick is a triumph for angry jerks. Says J.D. Vance has been slammed by his former college roommate who called the Ohio senator's selection as Donald Trump's running mate a triumph for angry jerks. Vance was selected as Donald Trump's pick for vice president Monday ahead of the former president's confirmation as the Republican Party's official nominee for the 2024 election. In the Truth Social post, Trump wrote that Vance has, quote, championed the hardworking men and women of our country, unquote. He added that Vance will be focused on the people he, quote, fought so brilliantly for, unquote, such as voters in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Washington, Wisconsin, Ohio, and Minnesota. Vance, who rose to national prominence after publishing his book Hillbilly Elegy in 2016, has been openly critical of the former president in the past, once describing him as America's Hitler. When his Hitler comment was first reported in 2022, a spokesperson did not dispute it, but said it no longer represented Vance's views. Sure not, it just has been bought and paid for. But, they're saying that the viewership of this Republican National Convention here is like 21% less than the one that he had when he was first running, when Trump was first running for president in 2016, okay? And that stands to reason because, a lot of shit's going on this year. You know, a lot of shit's happened this year. And Trump's name got dragged through the mud. He's a convicted felon, rapist, 34 crimes that he committed. Still under investigation. Investigations that are being interfered with by Judge Eileen Cannon, and you know, people on the Supreme Court kind of running as much cover as they can for him. So that only means that the crimes that he's committed are pretty damn serious, and there's probably a lot of smoke there that could get Trump in some deep shit, okay? Especially when it's concerning those documents that he stole out of the fucking White House, okay? I mean, he's lost every case they brought to him, okay? And I feel like, you know, this is, you know, if the pattern continues and he loses this case about the documents, I mean, Christ, he could be looking at prison time. So they definitely don't want that to happen before the election. And they're hoping that if they can get Trump in there, then he can pardon himself and whitewash the whole fucking thing, right? So, like I said, I mean, this ticket here for the Republicans is a criminal ticket. It's a ticket that wouldn't exist if the United States wasn't compromised in its judicial system, okay? If we didn't have bribery and we didn't have money flowing into it to buy off judges, Trump wouldn't be allowed to run for president in that situation. He couldn't. You know, it's spelled right out in the goddamn Constitution about how the president is supposed to be. You know, he can't be a felon. I mean, he can't even vote right now. I mean, because he's a felon. But yet he'll be able to sign executive orders. I mean, go figure how that's even allowed in this country. And the reason why it doesn't make sense is because he's flying against the fucking wind is what he's doing, thanks to the help of other people. Because otherwise, if he's unable to vote because he's a felon, then he can't run for president. But because they're going to let him run for president and he still can't vote. You know, don't you see what I'm saying? That, you know, when things appear like that, that means people are fucking with the system. Okay? That means people are out there deliberately pulling strings to make things happen that shouldn't happen. Okay? And that's why, like I said, this ticket is an abomination for the Republican Party. It is the worst fucking ticket in the history of that party. All right? And the thing is that they're so interested in a win that it doesn't matter to them who the fucking guy is that's running for them, okay? It's like a football game to them. Get that touchdown. I don't care if you have to mow the opposition down with an AK-47, but get that ball to that fucking goal. That's how they think when it comes to politics. You know, they don't care who the guy is that's running. I mean, how many people did the Republicans get, you know, into the White House? Okay, how many off the wall, or how many shady presidents have Republicans had in the White House over the years? Okay, and they all got in there because of the method of which the Republicans try to win their elections. Okay, by breaking all the rules, by, you know, doing shit, underhanded crap to get their side in there, because to them it's the win. It's the fucking win. They have to win at all costs, no matter who it destroys in the process or what it takes away from. They have to win. Okay, it's that fucking football mentality, you know. And Democrats, I don't think ever could understand that, because we're in it, the Democrats are in it for the principle, for the thing about our future, about our country. We're not in it to play this like a game to win it. We're in it to try to make sure that everything that we're doing gets to be revealed and that things happen the way we want it to happen. Okay? We know that we need to have a president that's in the Democrat Party to be able to implement these things. Okay, but we're not the kind of, you know, the group of people that are going to break rules in order to get the president in there. All right, because we have more respect for the system than the other side does. We understand why that system exists the way it does and why there's rules there. Because, you know, if we played like that, then a lot of crooked Democrats, what's his name there, Menendez, or the one that just got, you know, he's a Democrat, got his ass hung there. Okay, we'd end up getting bad apples in our politics if we played our game that way. But for the Republicans, they get all kinds of bad apples in there because that's the way they play it. You see, that's the way they play it. They may not like these people, but, you know, at the end of the day, when they win elections, they love it. Okay, and then when bad things happen that were rooted in the Republican victories, they're told, no, it wasn't us, it was the Democrats. Blame them for it. They're the ones that do it. And of course, they believe it. You see? So they go through life believing the propaganda from the right, saying the Democrats are the ones out there making their lives miserable, when it was them all along and the bad choices they were making about who should be running for this and running for that. I mean, there's even on the local level, a lot of these Republican people that run for like city council and stuff, they're out of their fucking minds, a lot of them. So even from the very low levels of our government, the Republican Party will always reach to the shady, you know, the crooked, you know, the greedy. They'll always reach for them fucking people, you know. And especially, you know, like the overly religious ones, okay, they'll always reach for them. Because, you know, hey, there's power there, I guess, money, power, and stuff like that. And that's what they figure they can get pushed to the top if they can get some of these people in there. I think that, you know, this is really, you know, a time where, you know, we're really seeing the flaws in the system here, because after so many years of the right wing, you know, chipping at this, chipping at that, you know, and constantly creating precedents, bad precedents that other people have to follow or kind of argued to follow, you know, we've kind of derailed ourselves in a lot of different ways. And Biden sees these things that we did wrong, because he's been around long enough to see the fuck-ups we did along the way. He knows what he has to do to fix it. And he might be old, he might not give as good of an energizing speech as he does, but I've had grandparents at that age, and hey, they're still sharp. They may not be able to deliver the fucking words like they used to, but you sit and you listen to them, and they got points. They make points. They have insight into things that's worth listening to. That at the end of the day is worth keeping in mind, because they've learned from history and they see the problems. And if you don't listen to them, Jesus, I mean, why do you think it's so important to read history? You know, there's a lot to learn from there. And people that are that old and stuff like that, you know, whether you agree they should be president or not, they're still worth listening to, because they know things that you know, people even my age, they won't know. Okay, so for the rest of the party out there to be shitting on him the way they're doing and stuff like that, I mean, that's not right. Like I said, they really ought to stand behind him to the end here, because we're so close to the election now. We really can't be doing a fucking 180 here on this with somebody that we don't even know, okay? Just because they look younger or somebody like that. You know, yeah, we know Kamala Harris, but like I said, there's going to be trouble with that. The Democrat Party will not allow a woman, and a black woman yet in our society, unfortunately, to be president, even though I think she could be president and be a good one at that. Every other damn country in the world seems to have no problem having a woman as a premier or president or what. You know, why is the United States still the last fucking Mohegan there? You know, Jesus. So we can't, you know, they can do something we can't. And finally here, this article from The Hill. by Miranda Nazaro entitled Russia Welcomes Vance's Views on Ukraine After Trump VP Announcement. Sure. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Wednesday welcomed Senator J.D. Vance's position on U.S. military and economic support for Ukraine following former President Trump's announcement. He tapped the Ohio lawmaker as his running mate. Quote, he's in favor of peace, he's in favor of ending the assistance that's being provided, and we can only welcome that because that's what we need to stop pumping Ukraine full of weapons, and then the war will end, unquote, Lavrov said at a press conference on Wednesday, according to a translation by Reuters. Vance has repeatedly expressed concerns about continued U.S. military and financial support for Ukraine in its fight against Russia. He once said he doesn't care what happens to Ukraine one way or the other, unquote. The Ohio Republican has raised doubt the U.S. can carry on support to Ukraine, arguing the U.S. does not build enough munitions to sustain the level of assistance currently being given to Kiev. Like fucking hell we can't. Quote, we will work with any American leader. We will remain ready to work with any U.S. leader who the U.S. people elect, unquote, Lavrov said. If the leader is, quote, willing to engage in equitable, mutually respectful dialogue, unquote, per Reuters. The Biden-Harris campaign said it was, quote, no surprise, unquote, Russia was expressing support for Trump and Vance. And, of course, they'll get money from Russia. Quote, of course, Vladimir Putin's regime supports Donald Trump and Vance. Trump encouraged Russia to do whatever the hell they want to our NATO allies, greenlit Putin's expansion into Europe, and signaled to other dictators around the world that under a Trump-Vance administration, the United States will not protect its allies or stand up for America's core values in the world, unquote. Biden-Harris campaign spokesperson James Singer said in a statement Wednesday. Trump's choice of Vance sparked alarm bells for some Ukraine supporters who are worried about the implications of the pick given his foreign policy viewpoints. It is not yet clear how much influence Vance would have on foreign policy should Trump win re-election in November. Lavrov on Wednesday said he believes there was more dialogue between Russia and the White House under Trump, in contrast to the Biden administration. Quote, it was during the Trump presidency that the sanctions war began. It is fair to say that Obama started it, but sanctions increased during Trump's presidency, both economic and diplomatic ones. But during that period, the dialogue at the highest level between Washington and U.S. was underway. Right now, there is no dialogue, unquote, he said per trans. Yeah, because Putin doesn't want to hear it. There's no dialogue. It's not like they haven't reached out to the son of a bitch. Trump, who has claimed he had more friendly relations with Russian President Vladimir Putin, has repeatedly claimed that he could end Russia's war in Ukraine in just 24 hours if he were the president. Yeah, I'm sure he could. Yeah, so it's no surprise, but the excuses that the right wing is given here is laughable. Okay, the thing of it is that Biden has been open to trying to with Putin to try and bring an end to this fight over there, okay? But Putin at every turn just won't listen to him, okay? It's the same goddamn shit that's going on in Gaza there between Israel and the Palestinians. Biden opens the door for discussion to see if they can bring an end to this thing, and the Netanyahu threw the finger at Biden. Okay, same mentality you're dealing with Putin. When you got people like that who only want to fight, who only want to just take what they want, doesn't matter. Women, children, they don't fucking matter. Okay, you're not going to get reasonable discussion with them. Now, you take Biden out of the equation and you sit Trump in there. Well, now you've got three people all in the same mentality, and of course they're going to talk because they're all like-minded. They're all evil to the fucking core. Okay, they each have a fucking agenda. And it ain't a good one. It doesn't benefit nobody but themselves. So yes, they will talk to Trump. But no, they're not going to talk to Biden because Biden wants to put a stop to this fighting over there in both these conflicts. He hasn't, you know, and the idea that, oh, we can't support them, we make more goddamn ammunition in this country to start 5 more world wars in this country, okay? We got plenty of fucking to go around, plenty of weapons to go around, all right? Christ, who's complaining about the weapons companies making all this money by manufacturing weapons? Christ, they're rolling in goddamn dough here because we're supplying all kinds of weapons to Israel and fucking Ukraine and all that. I mean, why the hell do you think people were out on the street bitching about that? So don't fucking throw that lie at me that, oh, it's costing this nation money. No, we're making money off of it. If anything, we're making money off of selling off weapons. We're just not going to give them the big shit, okay? But they're getting all kinds of assistance from us, and it's not hurting our economy at all. But it would start to hurt our economy more if we actually had boots on the ground in these situations here. But we're not. We're not sending troops anywhere to these things. So, yeah, I mean, this is how they kind of twist things in this narrative here. And the facts are that, like I said, Biden would like to see that conflict end, but he knows he's not going to get anywhere with the guy that's still in Russia running that fucking country. He knows that. I mean, we've had months and months and months go by where he's tried everything he can think of to encourage Putin to stop this fight, so that way they can think of, come to some kind of an agreement here with Ukraine. So the only people that he's been able to talk to is the Ukraine president, Zelensky. Okay, so he's been talking to Zelensky. So he knows from him what's going on over there, because Putin's not talking. So it shows you that Biden's interested in or invested in trying to do something with this. But he's not gonna. He can't deal with somebody that doesn't want to talk to him. And that's the same thing that goes for what's happening in Israel. Netanyahu doesn't want to talk to the president. Christ, he come over here and he was talking shit about Biden on our own fucking soil here not long ago. A rotten bastard. Okay? He's over here bitching, America was supposed to stand with us. Yeah, if you wanted to take over the world, we're supposed to stand with you. If you're a dictator, no. There's some sort of rule here about that kind of that thing, that we're not going to just help countries defeat other countries just because they feel like it. We're not going to help Russia defeat Ukraine because Russia wants to defeat Ukraine and we feel like we ought to help. No. You ain't got a reason to attack Ukraine. There's no fucking reason. There's nothing, no Nazis over there and all that shit. That was all horse crap, and that was, and of course Putin changes the fucking reason every damn time when he, when the rest of the world was laughing at him about the answers he was given, okay? And Netanyahu, well, we know that fucking guy, if this shit hadn't started over there, he would probably be out of a job. They were trying to get him out of there because he was fucking around with the system of government there, just like Trump wants to do. Trying to get, sidestep a law that, some laws that he was, had breaking over there, and he was corrupted. So they were pushing to get him ousted. And then all of a sudden this crap happens. Well, now he's in there. It's almost like too convincing, too coincidental that this would happen right at the worst time in his leadership, in his career, and all of a sudden this attack happens, and now he's got a reprieve from justice. So, like I said, Putin, Netanyahu, Trump, they all think alike, okay? And of course, you're going to see a lot of chit-chat with them. What does that mean for Ukraine? Well, if Trump gets in there, Ukraine is probably going to be finished, unfortunately. And I don't know what Zelensky's going to do. I mean, he might get help from some other countries, but I would say that at this point, if Zelensky doesn't get his hands on some nuclear weaponry, okay, this war is not going to stop. And it's really going to have to stop soon, because he can't really depend on the United States to always be in his corner here, especially if Trump should win. He can't really gamble on that at this point. So if I was him, I would be trying to get some nuclear weapons, because if Russia knows he's got it, they might they might be encouraged to put a pause in this fight, especially if they see Ukraine willing to start hitting major cities in Russia with nukes. Okay, because the rest of the world is not going to sit by and allow a potential escalation into an all-out nuclear war. You know, that's going to force everybody, the rest of the countries, to take more of a proactive move to stop that fight. Okay, that's why I said at this point Zelensky really needs to get his hands on some nuclear weaponry wherever he can get it. You know, I'm hoping he can get it. I hope he can find it, you know, or somewhere make it. But he's going to have to do something like that to put a stop to this, because it's not going to quit. Not with Putin still running things, you know. So, like I said, there's a lot to really think about when we go to the election, when we go to voting in our voting booths and stuff. We can't be wishy-washy. We can't just look at, you know, Biden's name on the ticket and say, oh Christ, he's too old, you know. If there's no other choice, and you're not going to vote for Trump, you know for sure you're not going to vote for Trump, and you're in that voting booth, you know, and there's, you know, we only got two choices. I mean, yes, I know there's an independent party, Green Party, all these other parties, but the electorate, they only get two choices. You know, the electoral votes only go to either the Democrats or the Republicans, so there's really only a two-party system in this country. So you look at that ballot and you look at Biden and you look at Trump. Well, you can't look at that ballot like look at the man Biden and look at the man Trump. You got to look at this in a different way. Democracy or fascism? Which do you want? Because that's the choice that's in front of all of America right now. We are about to redefine what the United States is this November. This is more than just an election between two guys. This is an election between two philosophies. Okay, and I hope you're smart enough to understand what I'm saying here, because it really is that important, and we can't have anybody stay home on this thing. So it doesn't matter. Whoever is on the blue side, on the blue, you vote for them. It's blue or red. Vote blue all the way down that fucking ticket, okay? All the way down the card. Blue, 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 all the way down. Okay, it doesn't matter who these people are. You got to keep the radical right the hell out of the system, because they're really pushing hard to get in there with that fucking Project 2025 agenda that, you know, to turn this country inside out. So that's why I'm saying you got to stay united behind the blue side, the Democrat side. If you don't want to see Trump, you don't want to see fascism, you've got to vote for Biden or whoever's on the blue side. That's the way it is. All right, so thanks for watching, and subscribe, comment, and share. Keep your ears open for any health-related issues, and treat each other nice out there, and don't you know, cause any unnecessary fighting or arguing. It's hot enough out there as it is without getting yourself into a heated argument or a fight or something like that. You know, try to enjoy the weather if you can. It's really, you know, better all the way around for our emotional stability if we can just give ourselves a break from the ridiculousness of politics at this time in the country's history here. So we need those breaks, so take them. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.